Hello, everyone. It is me, Danielle Jane Mitchell, your up-and-coming queen of real estate, and I'm here for another episode of Tuesday Tip at 2. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to today's and this week's Tuesday Tip at 2. Listen, today we're going to talk about some reasons why buyers are afraid to buy. Potential reasons why buyers are just afraid to buy. What are the concerns out there? So if you're a seller, if you're an investor, and you're like, what's going on? I have this property. Depending on what area you're in, some properties are going off the market fast, others are not. Or maybe you want to sell a property or get into it, and you want to kind of have an understanding of what's going on. Maybe you're a real estate professional like me. And you're like, what is going on? And I'm going to talk about that more in a second, but you need a better understanding. Maybe you yourself are a potential buyer, and this might hit some of the feelings that you're having, some of the concerns that you have. Well, guess what? I'm going to talk about it in today's episode of Tuesday Tip at 2. Now, before we go into that, I need to let you know that I'm a PA licensed realtor, and I help and service the Philadelphia surrounding suburbs, and also Montgomery County, Delaware County, Chester County, Bucks County, all the counties. All right. So if you're interested in any of those areas, you can go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, that is book.djmrealtyco.com, and go ahead and schedule yourself a consultation, either a buyer consultation if you're looking to list your rental property, or a property for sale, a listing consultation. If you're looking to invest, if you're trying to get started, I have an investor consultation. If you have some general questions, I have that too. So just go in there, check it out. You won't be disappointed. Hello, new subscribers, and welcome to the channel. Listen, if you are a subscriber, a returning viewer, make sure that you have pushed the subscribe button, okay, with the all notifications bell. Make sure you have pushed that so you can always stay up to date on what's going on with my channel. Now, I wanted to talk about this because, to be honest, there are times as a real estate professional, and especially when I talk to even other colleagues, where it's like, what's going on? I know what's happening in the market, but with even buyers, there seem to be situations that come up that are very perplexing for me as a realtor. And so that's why I'm always on here trying to educate, always trying to let people know what's going on. And we're continuing in this, just understanding housing trends, what's happening, because I want us to have a better understanding and grip of what's going on in the world of real estate. So I have come across some amazing buyers who were ready to go, have all the things working for them, whether it's a great credit score, great savings, great job history, everything working for them. For some of them, I even got them, to get pre-approved. Of course, they got pre-approved very quickly. They were even pre-approved for generous amounts, decent amounts, where it's like, hey, there is inventory out here for you. So let's hit the ground running. And what I came across was people who got to that point and just all of a sudden shied away, backed out. And what I came across were people who essentially ghosted me, right? And so for me, I'm like, well, what's going on, right? And these are conversations with people who are enthusiastic, ready to go, excited, again, everything working for them. And all of a sudden, there seems to be some hesitation, and for no reason that I know of, right? So I'm doing this Tuesday Tip at 2 for me so I can have a better understanding, and so that I can educate everybody on these different concerns. So let's get started with number one. Number one reason, one common factor that can contribute to buyers being fearful, hesitant to proceed forward in the purchase of a house is financial concern, right? One of the primary reasons buyers may be afraid to buy their dream home is financial uncertainty. Purchasing a home is a significant investment, and buyers may worry about their ability to afford the mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, and ongoing maintenance costs. Economic instability, job security, or personal finance constraints can amplify these concerns. Okay. So what I want to say about that is nobody, can know a buyer's personal situation. If you are a buyer, you may be feeling like, hey, I want a new job, or my job is feeling really unstable. Those are understandable factors that are, somewhat in your control, out of your control, whatever the case is, right? Now, economic instability, we can't control that. We can't control that. You can control your job stability, right, or security by possibly getting a new one, all those things. But economic instability is something we cannot control. But we still survive. We still thrive in that. Personal finance constraints, understandable. When you're talking about financial concerns, one of the things that I come across a lot of times is that people are in good financial situations, but don't know. Right. So one of the biggest things is to find out, is to have the conversation with a professional, with a realtor, to at least see what's going on. Even if you're having job kind of instability, you're not sure about it, still having a conversation with a lender of like, hey, this is what's going on. What if I leave my job and I get a new one where that diminish my chances of buying a house, for an example? A lender can let you know, hey, it doesn't necessarily, as long as it's along the same lines, as long as there is not this huge gap and between jobs, it's going to be okay. So number 2, market is volatile. Okay, market volatility. Fluctuations in the real estate market can create fear among buyers. If the market is experiencing a downturn, buyers may worry about purchasing a property that could lose value in the future. On the other hand, in a highly competitive market and rapidly appreciating market, buyers may fear overpaying for a property or getting into a bit of more. I've talked about this. Is a property for you a long-term investment or short-term investment? If you're trying to make it a long-term investment, meaning you're staying in there 7 to 10 years, that's a completely different market. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, your home is going to appreciate in value enough where you don't feel like you're losing money. Okay. So that's how I combat that fear. Number 3, fear of commitment. Buying a home is a long-term commitment, and some buyers may be afraid of making such a substantial commitment. Okay. They may worry about being tied up, resources tied up in a property, limited flexibility, and other opportunities may arise. If you're this person, fear of commitment, then fine, rent. And that's okay. Right. You have to decide is what I always say. You have to decide to decide. And if you have a life where your vocation is pretty much stable, you're in the same area for the most part for at least 5 years at a time. If you plan to be in an area at least 5 years, at least 7 years, at least 10 years, then again, it is more of a long-term investment rather than a short-term investment. If you don't plan to stay in that state next year or the year after, within the next 2 years, then you probably should not buy. So you're probably better off renting. Nothing wrong with renting. It just depends, again, on lifestyle. Depends on what you're going to do. So again, if you're trying to stay in an area for a long term, you might as well buy. Okay. Might as well buy. Number 4, inspection and maintenance concerns. Buyers may have concerns about potential hidden issues with the properties. Worries about expensive repairs or renovations can make them hesitant to purchase a dream home, especially if they lack confidence in their ability to handle such issues. You have to decide to decide. You have to decide that you are ready for the responsibility of owning your own property. Now, there are things in place that you can have for your property, like home insurance. You're paying for home insurance every month. Okay. The other thing you can have is home warranty. If you want to keep a home warranty going on your property so that if something comes up, you can just call the home warranty. They handle it for you. Then that's fantastic. Those are ways that you can help alleviate the stress of having to be responsible for something completely yourself. Okay. There are things you can get, insurance for your sewage, right? That's one of the things that can happen is that sewer lines can be faulty, can crack, the trees can grow in them. So if you're concerned, if you hear this and you're concerned about it, get insurance for it. Okay. Make sure that you have things in place so if something comes up, you can get it handled. You can be protective and not be stressed about having out of pocket expenses at the drop of a dime. And of course, creating a lifestyle where you're saving your money on a consistent basis. Everybody should have a rainy day savings account, right? So being able to save some money, put things aside. So if something does happen in your life, whether it's your home or just in life in general, you can handle it. Number 5, emotional attachments. Okay. Sometimes the fear of buying a dream home stems from emotional attachments and the fear of making the wrong decision. Okay. Or FOMO, as they call it, fear of missing out. Buyers may fear regretting their choice or discovering a better property shortly after making a purchase. Here's the thing. FOMO, fear of missing out, doing all those different things. At the end of the day, you have to decide to decide. You have to decide that when you see a house that you like, that you can go for it and have no buyer's remorse. I always tell people that when you go for a property, you want to make sure you acquire a property where you do not have buyer's remorse. That no matter if you see another property come on for sale, you can find value in what you already acquired and what you already have. So being able to make that decision, deciding to decide, and sticking with it is important. Number 7, external factors. Okay, external factors like neighborhood safety, proximity to school, access to amenities, or overall condition of an area can contribute to a buyer's fear. Buyers may worry about potential impact on their lifestyle, resale value, or quality of life in the long run. At the end of the day, we can't control the outside stuff, right? So when you're picking a location, how they say location is important, at the end of the day, even if the location, you have to make sure that you are okay with the location that you choose, that it's an area that you feel comfortable with, and that whether it's schools are important to you, whether the amenities are important to you, all these factors, you want to make sure that you are getting what you need in the house as well as in the area. So again, just deciding to decide what areas are you comfortable with, what areas can give you the lifestyle that you desire. Because at the end of the day, worrying is not going to help you to decide. You can't decide for future events of a location. All you can do is decide in the moment. And the wonderful thing is that you can always choose somewhere else. And that's okay too. And the last one, number 8, lack of information and or knowledge. Lack of information and or knowledge contributes to fear of being able to buy a dream home, right? Buyers who are new to the home buying process or unfamiliar with the local area or are unfamiliar with the real estate market may feel overwhelmed or afraid of making mistakes. Insufficient knowledge about the legal, financial, logistical aspects of home buying can increase anxiety. I've definitely had conversations with buyers in the past who get in their own way because they're so concerned about the legality portions, which I'm trained and licensed in. Now, I'm not a real estate lawyer, but I've had training. I had to for the sake of getting my license and the legality of home buying. And I often advise people from a home buying or home selling perspective. And what people don't understand is that the legality that it takes to sell a home, rent a home, to buy a home, to lease a home is just normal practice stuff, right? And now, if it gets into stuff that's out of my peer review, out of my training, that's when you need a real estate attorney. But I'll have conversations with people about paperwork and all these things, and people always feel like you're trying to get over on them or something when all of this stuff is normal practice. And so a lot of times, again, it can feed into that fear, that anxiety, but you have to decide to decide. You have to decide to trust. You have to decide to trust the information given to you. You have to decide when the bombarding of YouTube information and articles read and 52 professionals that you have talked to is just enough for you to walk therein and go ahead and pursue home buying, right? That you have collected enough data to feel secure enough to do so. But a lot of times, if you're worrying and your fear over the information, there is not enough information in the world that will make you want to go ahead and pursue buying a house. You'll just never get enough. You'll never talk to enough real estate professionals and enough mortgage people. You never will. Because at the end of the day, every professional has their own style, their own way of being able to approach home buying. So you're going to hear a variation of answers. You have to just do what's comfortable for you. So again, being okay with deciding to decide. That's what's important. So if you're struggling with any of these things, you know what you need to do. You need to call me. We need to talk about it. Okay. We need to have a conversation because information is key. Knowledge is key. But none of that information and knowledge trumps your decision to decide to go for what you desire. If buying a home is what you desire, then you need to take the risk. You need to take the leap. You need to trust somebody in this process and just pursue it. Okay. You can go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, that is book.djmrealtyco.com. And let's get started on your pursuit. Okay. And remember, there's no place like home, no place like home buying. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week for our all new Tuesday tip at 2. Okay. Bye bye.